Today, I'm going to be giving you the top 10 crosshairs that you need to be using in Valorant. If you're struggling to find what crosshair to use, you're simply not happy with the one you're using right now, this is for you. 10 popular crosshairs that are used by high skill players and pro players in the community, and some that are simply used absolutely everywhere. I'll show you all the settings, break them down, and give you the pros and cons. Of course, it's personal preference, however, these are recommendations for you. Make sure to stick around to the end too, as that'll be the best crosshair there is. First off, we have the famous Circle Crosshair. Now, the settings for this one, you're going to need to put the outer lines on, you're going to have to remove the center dot, remove the outlines, and remove the inner lines. The outer lines are going to be set to length 1, thickness 4, and offset 2. Remove movement error and firing error from them. There you go. The reason why this one is so widely used is because it's so different from the rest. It offers a completely unique feel to the crosshair and a unique placement for it, as it's quite literally a circle. Now, if you find out how to make a triangle crosshair, someone please tell me, because I need to know that. Now, if you're looking for a slight alternation of that circle crosshair and one used by a well-known pro player, Scream, this is it. The color wants to be cyan, the outlines want to be on, set to 1-1 in that order, the center dot should be on and it should be 1-3 exactly in that order. The inner lines that should be on 1-1-1-1, all in that order. The outer lines that should be completely off, and fade, movement, firing error, all should be off. And this is what it'll look like in game, and hopefully this one can help you go for those one taps that he pulls off himself. Now, if you're looking for a crosshair that isn't super tight but not super far wide, you want to go for Shroud's crosshair. Shroud, aka the godfather of all crosshairs, uses this. The color of the crosshair is white, the inner lines are 1-4-2-2 exactly in that order, and then the outer lines are 1-1-0-1. And that'll be Shroud's crosshair for you. It is quite popular and is very similar to other ones out there. Now, the main benefits of this one is that you'll probably be used to it quite quickly, just because it's very similar to other crosshairs out there, in other FPS games for example as well, and it's a really popular one simply just because of how standard it is. It's not going to be too tight, but at the same time it's not going to be too far wide. So for those of you who haven't found too much love with the tighter crosshairs, and the ones that are farther out, give this one a try. Next up is Dapr, a professional Valorant player for Sentinels and is widely known in the community. His crosshair, the color is green, he has his outlines on, and he has 1-3-2-5 exactly in that order, the length, width, and whatnot. This one is going to look a little bit something like this in game. Now, this one is very interesting, as it's not typically a tight crosshair or a wide one, a little wider on the width and a little closer in between. It's definitely tight, but an alternation of the tight crosshairs that you will usually see in Valorant. So if this type of crosshair does take your fancy, go ahead and give it a try and let me know what you think of it down below in the comments. Now, some of you might want to go for a little bit something crazy and a little bit different, because a lot of the crosshairs are quite similar, so why not go for a square crosshair? Am I right? If you want to put a square crosshair on, the settings are exactly on your screen right now what you see. This is what to follow with, and this is what to do when you're going to be setting up your square crosshair, and this is a very interesting one. I've seen people use it before, especially a few high elo players. Whether it's the one for you or not, it's a little bit iffy because it's a square. Now, crosshair number 6 is going to be the crosshair that I do use, as I believe it's going to suit a lot of you and help quite a few of you out with finding that crosshair to initially start out with. I found my crosshair simply through playing with a few of the settings, see what looked right and see what didn't, and found something that suited me in the end. The color for it is going to be white. Any fade, firing, movement error, and all that stuff should be off. The outlines and center dot should be off. You're not going to need any of that, but you do want to put the inner lines on, and these are the settings for it. You want to put the opacity to 1, you want to have the length to 6, you want to have the thickness to 1, and you want to have the offset set to 3. To the movement error, firing error off. As potentially an initial starting base or a crosshair for the future for you, this one will suit you quite well. If you put it onto green, that works really well, as green is the color that stands out the most in Valorant. I chose white as personally that suits me when I'm aiming. But this one is just very simplistic, not too tight, not too wide, sits in the right movement for the aiming scenarios that you enter in Valorant, and just feels right. It's a bog standard, simplistic crosshair that has worked really well for me. And if you do want to watch me use that crosshair live on stream, I do stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 6:30 PM BST. There's a link in the description for it if you'd like to check out the Twitch. Now, next up is a crosshair used by the world's youngest Radiant. He's 14, and we actually included him in the previous few videos we did on the channel interviewing the world's youngest Radiant in Valorant. And hey, there's a card in the top right if you want to check out that video. Surely, if he's hit Radiant and he's using this crosshair and he's 14, there's something wrong with this crosshair. You want to be using it. Anyways, for his crosshair, he has the outlines on and they are set to 1, 2, 1, 3. That's all you'll need. The majority of the rest should be off. This is one of the more tighter crosshairs, an alternation for you to try out, and it is quite popular. I've seen it used a few times in the pro scene, similar versions of it. Feel free to set the color to whatever you want. Green and white are my crosshair preferences, and feel free to go ahead and use it. Next up, we have Nosyy's crosshair, who is a content creator who is currently in Radiant and Ranked, a very high skill player, and this is his crosshair that he's using. You want to have the majority of it off, however, you do want to set your outlines 1511, and this will be a cyan color for the crosshair. Now, this one is quite similar to mine, as I believe it is just a little bit tighter on that 1511, which will be in the category of the tighter crosshairs compared to the other ones that we have listed so far. This crosshair can be a great alternation for you if you wanted something that's a little bit tighter, and give it a shot, you might just like it. Now, this one is a really popular crosshair that I'm about to show you for number 9. It's very clean, very simple, but most importantly, it's a tight crosshair. So if you like that, this is for you. The outlines, the center dot, the firing error, the fade, the movement error, all should be off. As like I said, it is a tighter crosshair, which means it'll often be using those inner lines. You want to go for 1, 3, 3, 2, exactly in that order as it follows going down. And this one is going to be a really clean and tight crosshair. It's fantastic for a lot of weapons. The Vandal and the Phantom, perfect examples. It works both for those, as you've got tight shots with the Vandal, and you've also got your tighter shots with the Phantom. The crosshair color will typically be white, however you can change it to whatever suits you, as your personal preference is the main thing. And if you're not a fan of it, simply adjust it to your need. You can always take these crosshair examples and tweak them to suit you. Now for the crosshair you've all been waiting for, the big one. If I said this crosshair was the most popular one and the most looked after one, what do you think it would be? Well, it's Tenz's crosshair. Tenz's crosshair is probably one of the most sought after crosshairs in the world because he is simply a god aimer, plays for Sentinels, and is one of the most well-known pro players out there right now. And deservedly so. His aim is absolutely insane, and he's been very, very well known for that and his crosshair. For this one, you want to have everything else off for the majority of it. You want to have your color set to cyan. That is the color he uses. The most popular colors out there right now are probably green, white, and cyan. Tenz uses that one too. And you want to have your outlines on 1, 3, 1, 2, exactly in that order going down. Tenz's crosshair is probably placed in the category of the more tighter crosshairs. However, it can be used in many scenarios. And if a pro player uses it, it doesn't necessarily mean that that crosshair is going to suit you and be the best one for you. So pick some of these recommended, tweak it for you, or simply go by your own choice. Thank you for watching. I hope this has helped with inspiration for crosshairs. Be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe for more tips and tricks. And I do stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 6:30 PM BST. There's a link down below in the description if you want to check it out. And click on the video on your screen right now if you want to see the ultimate guide to Jet. I promise it's worth a watch. And let me know down below in the comments what you would like to see next for a tips and tricks video.